Traders, this is Sin with the New Level Trading Report for Friday, June 24th. Wall Street dropped for a third day today on worries about the Italian banking sector and Greece's debt crisis, but the S&P managed to hold its 200-day moving average. In a sign, buyers still see value, and we'll talk a little bit about that today. The Dow and the S&P fell for their seventh week in the last 8 weeks. The benchmark S&P 500 is down 7% from its 2011 closing high at the end of April. Technology companies' earnings contributed to that downtrend today in the markets. The Dow lost 115 points, the Nasdaq was down 33 points, and the S&P lost 15 points. This is a 15-minute chart of our Dow Jones index, and as you can see, this was last week we had a little bit of uptrending and then topped out around 12,217. That steep sell-off yesterday, followed by about a 50% retracement. But this is what we look like today. We pretty much could not get past the closing price of yesterday and sold off early in the morning, chopped around quite a bit. We had a lot of, as you can see, bottoming tails trying to push up, but actually just continued to sell off. And as you can see, this is the last candle, and I'll consider it's a bottoming tail, but some of that is some short covering. And what I wanted to show you, the interesting thing that we've been talking quite a bit about lately, is the fact that this is the weekly chart of our Dow Jones, and this actually looks about the same on all of the indices, but it really shows up on the Dow. And this is our, you can see this low around the 64.69 on the Dow. And actually, let's take a quick look at the monthly chart, because I just want to give you a very broad view, because things don't look so bad when I look at this. You know, obviously we had that all-time high around 14,198. We had that huge sell-off, but you can see that we had this pullback in here, and it lasted, you know, March, April, and you know, even into part of the summer. But it looks very messy on a daily chart, but on a monthly chart it doesn't look so bad. In fact, if anything, it looks fairly orderly, right back into this moving average. So it's going to be very important to watch to see what happens, because there's the potential that we touch and we can go down even a little bit more and then continue back on. And I mean, again, lots has to happen in terms of what's happening with the economy and earnings and so forth. But again, it's just something to think about. But let's go back now to a daily chart. Again, now you've seen this. This is just that trend line that I drew on a weekly, and we looked at it on a monthly. But what's interesting here is, again, I'm going to just stretch this out here, but here's our 200 period moving average, and we're on a daily. And again, we really sold off on very high volume. You can see not too many touches all the way through since the beginning of the year. This is one of a higher volume sell-off. Again, it is in the summer, but so we're holding that trend line that I drew way back from when the market was at its absolute lowest, obviously in recent years. But so again, we had that top, that bottoming tail, and I said, well, you know, there's a possibility we could come back and test this area again. Obviously, this is an area of resistance now. It used to be support, now it's resistance. So now what I would consider is we had an inside day to day, but it's still a fairly large candle on higher than average volume. So there's the potential. Obviously, we have this support here. We talked about it. It's around the 11,818 area, but the potential now, it looks like that we do want to try to at least test down to this 11,613 area. So we'll just have to continue to watch that. But again, I just wanted to bring that to your attention. This is our S&P futures again, and on a 15-minute chart, and you can see we topped pretty much about double topped around this 1293 area and sold off. And you can see yesterday that really heavy sell-off, but then some retracement, and then throughout the evening we were up a bit, and then pretty much chopped around the highs, but then right at the open sold off. And again, you can see that really steep sell-off, the bottoming tails and spinning tops and so forth, but ended on the lows. And you can see I definitely would consider this some short covering. You can see the high volume. And so let's look at our daily, and again, we are holding that 200 period moving average, but certainly not by much. I mean, I would say hanging by a thread. We had that reversal, and now we've reversed again, and you know, at this point, to me, it's hard to believe we wouldn't come back and test this 1251 again, and if nothing, and even down to this 1240 area, because you know, we are in congestion, but again, we are holding. In fact, let's just quickly go back, and as I drew that, here's what we're looking at, and make sure I'm on my trend line. There we go. So let's just move that and do some touching here. And do you see that? I mean, we are really holding that, and so obviously it's a very, very important trend line. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. Again, this is a weekly, and look at, we have these dojis, but almost it's not quite a gravestone doji, but basically again ending on the lows of the week. So that's what I'm seeing right now. Let me go back to a daily, and then what I'm going to do is switch to the dollar index. And actually, as a contrarian, same type of situation. You can see if let's see if I can do that. That's about what we're looking at, and this is on a daily. But if I stretch that way up in this area, it still looks about the same. So again, we're trending downward, but coming up, hitting that trend line, and that basically could be the same type of situation as coming back and just hitting that trend line and then continuing downward. But you can see again, as a contrarian, it acted just the way we would want it to, trending upward throughout the day and making a new high today, just at 76.28. So let's go back just quickly, as we talked about rejecting this area of resistance. Again, you see that rejection candle, but again, I talked about that reversal that I saw on Wednesday, and now as you can see, here we are. It definitely looks like we want to at least try to test that area, and again, here's our trend line, and in the next few days it looks like we could come up and try to test that, and again, it could go right back down, but an interesting trend line. I always love looking at what the technicals are showing me. At least that's, they don't lie, and that's what I just like to look and see what's happening. First, I'm going to go back to our home page, and as you can see, this is just an overview of what we did. Again, that sharp sell-off in the morning, and then followed by lots of chop, and pretty much ended on the lows. And we always talk about our heat map, again, looking very red this time, and as I said, basic materials were down today, and technology pretty much was the major decliner today in the stocks. As I said, a lot of technology stocks had earnings and did not do well. Oracle was the big one today. Let's look at our bubble study, and as you can see, let's stretch that out just a bit here. DFS, that's one that we've talked quite a bit about lately. Lots of volatility, but up 3.7% today, so they actually had a really nice day. It's a biotech. It's up about 2.73% today. Let's see, HIG, an insurance company, up about 1.5%. Let's stretch that out just a bit. BBY up about 1%. You can see this is our zero line, 1%. So again, not too many stocks above that 1% line, but again, we did have a few winners today. The big loser today, and I've got to actually stretch to get there, is MU, which is Micron Technologies, down over 14%. So not doing well. I wanted to look at that quickly. You can see they actually do have some support coming in this dotted line here, but you can see that sell-off on higher than average volume. But right in here, they definitely have some technical support, so we'll watch to see on Monday if there is any volume coming into the upside, and see if we bounce. Obviously, we have a gap here that at some point we might want to fill, but technology is not doing well right now, so that could continue downward. But again, I do see at least a little bit of support there. Let's go back just quickly and look at the rest of the down stocks today. SanDisk, obviously not a good day, 9% down. FSLR down. They actually were up a bit yesterday, but right back down today, almost 5% down. Oracle, as I said, had earnings and didn't do well, down about 4%. So you can see, again, our 1% line and our 4%. So lots of stocks to the downside, and as you can see, our Dow and our indices reflected that. So again, not a great day for us trading to the upside today. Let's go back to our charts and just look at a few of the, I traded to the downside. Apple didn't do too much trading today, and actually Don and Brian took time today. We kind of call it Education Friday. We go over options, the Greeks, futures, and also some chart studies Brian's developed for New Level Traders that are available to our members. So again, Brian actually traded the futures, had some really nice trades trading the futures to the downside, but again, overall had some profits, but not just didn't do too much trading today. But we absolutely appreciate the fact that you've joined us today. Have a great weekend. If you have any questions about education or membership, call us at the number on our website, www.newleveltraders.com. Have a great evening, and we'll see you on Monday.